Okay, so this is the first demo to illustrate how much time you can save, specifically in this case in Microsoft Excel, how much time you can save using shortcuts. And these are the five shortcuts that we're going to learn in this demo. And we have an alarm clock. We have a stopwatch up here to where we can time ourselves and really quantify how much time that we're saving and reinforce the importance of using shortcuts to become more efficient. So, of course, that you have time for other things. So I want to start. Other than auto sum right here, take a look at this is very fundamental. So all of these start with Alt H, right? So all borders Alt H, auto width Alt H, fill Alt H, merge and center Alt H. Now I want you to click over here on Excel and press Alt H. So whenever you do that, this is what happens. So just look at this just for a second, just to understand what's going here and realize how, if you think about this logically, it really makes sense, okay? So if we press Alt H means Alt Home, okay? Alt H means Alt Home. So instead of clicking on Home, all you have to do is press Alt H. And whenever you press Alt H, just as we have all of these little shortcuts that come up. So if, for example, so we'll just do one of these lessons real quick, like fill. Down here in the bottom right, the shortcut that we're going to learn is how to fill a color or how to fill a cell. So as we can see up here in the top left, up here in the under the fill button is an H. So we're going to click H, and this is what happens. So let's just say that we wanted to fill it black. So you just move your arrows over and press enter, and it fills it black. Okay. Now let's do that again. Okay, I know that it's a new way to think of it. So remember to fill. Remember the fundamental is instead of clicking on home, it's Alt H. Okay, and remember fill is H. This is kind of hard to remember. A lot of these are easy to remember. So look up here, for example, FS means font size. Okay, so that's pretty simple to remember. AL, align left, right? So if you press Alt H, AL, you're going to align left. Merge and center is M. Wrap text is W. And then you can look at your percentages, your P's. I'm also going to show you another shortcut for these two, but that's a little bit later. Um, and you can look down through here and see all these things. So, if you wanted to auto with it, right? I mean, of course, you can come up here and double click on it, but without having to move your mouse, you could press O and auto fit down here is I, right? So it would do it. And that's one of the lessons that we're going to be learning here too. So you can see in this example how we're going to have to move all of these over to so that you can see the entire words. And so yeah, let's just go back and press Alt H, and we're going to look at this again, and just make sure that we're getting a very clear understanding of all of the little shortcuts. So if we wanted to do FF, we could change the font. So a lot of these are pretty simple to remember, like a line bottom, a line middle, a line top. Um, so once you get the fundamentals of how shortcuts work, they're actually really, really simple to learn and very easy to teach uh, people, of course. So we'll go ahead and undo this. Oh, and one other quick thing is undo, if you don't know, is Control Z. And so, yeah. All right. So let's just go through these. So let's say that so let's do the shortcut auto sum. So let's say we have 5, 5, and we want to add it. Okay. So a lot of people would do equals sum. They might use their arrows to go up and then close the parentheses and that. So they might do that, or they might do it even slower. I'm not really sure. But um, as you can see down here, auto sum is alt plus equals. So um, if you're in the cell right here, all you have to do is press alt equals and sum comes up and just press enter. Okay. Now let's say for example that it's not they're not on top of each other, they're beside each other. So let's say we have 5 plus 5 over here. Well, we can still do alt equals and it'll go behind us and get all of that. I believe it'll probably do it this way too. No, okay, so we'll do it that way. But so that's a shortcut how to use auto sum, which is alt equals, which is, think about this. Remember logically, whenever you think of sum, if you do 5 plus 5, that equals. That's the final button that you would press, right? So think about this logically. Think of it as, an actual human making these shortcuts and trying to make them as easy as possible to remember, right? So sum equals. Um, Borders we're going to learn. So let's just do a little lesson real. Or let's just do a little example here. Let's say we have revenues. Revenues, expenses, net income. Okay. So let's say we have revenues of 800, expenses of 400, and so of course our net income would be $400. Let's say we want to do a border with this. So down here, the shortcuts, remember Alt H because the borders is on the home tab, right? Alt H. And so if we highlight them all, and we don't even have to do that too. You can always do that with shift and control, so you don't have to drag it. So shift down, shift down. Okay, so whenever you do shift, it only goes down one. Whenever you do shift and control, it goes down how many there's words consistently. Now, if you do control, it'll just jump to the bottom. Okay, so that's something. But so if we're looking at borders, it's Alt H, right? And borders, think of this logically, B for borders, right? So B, and we have all of these that pop up. So let's say we want to do all borders. It would be A. And now we have all of our borders. Remember, Control Z is undo, so I'm just going to undo these real quick. Auto width. All right, so let's say we have like, I don't know, Charlie's Steakhouse. And we want to auto fit that into the cell, right? So obviously you can go up here and click this, but you're still moving the mouse, and that's kind of not what we're preaching here. I mean, sometimes it does make sense to use the mouse, like whenever you're tabbing through, um, internet pages and stuff like that. It does make sense to use the mouse in some occasions, but the the kind of logic here is to reinforce like thinking about shortcuts, but you will kind of integrate them as you go. So as you can see down here, auto width is Alt HOI, right? So Alt H, O for format, I for autofit column width. So it automatically fits it. And the last little shortcut down here that we're going to learn is merge and center. So let's say that we have Charlie's Steakhouse here, and we want to merge and center it in these three columns. And so, most of the time you come up here and just click on merge and center, but again, you're touching the mouse, and that's not what we're doing here. So, in this case, all you do is just highlight it, and as you can see down here, the shortcut, remember Alt H for home, right? Where the merge and center function is on the home tab, so Alt H, M for merge, and then you can see the options here, so you can merge and center, merge across, merge cells, or unmerge cells. So we are going to merge and center, and it does it for us. Perfect. So now that we're kind of familiar with, okay, So now that we're kind of familiar with the shortcuts that we're going to learn in in this little example, because again, these are common shortcuts that you would use. Like I said, if you're in Excel or really in any capacity in any type of profession. So just in this example, I'm just going to show you how much time that we're going to save using these shortcuts. So over here, we're going to just do it normally with no shortcuts. And we're going to time it and see how much time it takes. And then we'll do it with shortcuts over here just to illustrate how much time that you actually can save. So I'll go ahead and get started with this first example of not using shortcuts. Okay, so it took me 35 seconds to recreate this example, not using a shortcut. So now I'm going to come over here and now I'm going to come over here and show you how much time I can save using the shortcuts. All right, so you can see I actually screwed that one up a little bit. It made a couple mistakes, but uh, you can kind of see the difference in time that you save just with this little example. And whenever you're doing very complex formatting on income statements or any type of you're doing changes in growth and you have to format a lot of stuff or you have to auto fit a lot of stuff. This is very applicable to pretty much everything. So basically, what we're going to do now is we'll have a lesson that kind of goes that reinforces this. Um, so I hope that you got a little bit of practice because now we're going to test those skills and make sure that you did well in this lesson.